What's up, guys? This is Jay from Revolution Radio. So, I learned an important lesson. You can say whatever you want about Trump, about the left wing, about religion, the Muslims, the Christians. The one group of people who cannot take any sort of criticism is the gun people. Um, Namely through Spotify, but also through email and Facebook message, and your awesome DMs. I have gotten so much pushback on my last video. Namely, because I said, in a very small segment, by the way, that one of the problems is that people identify with their guns too much. They take on that whole identity and they daydream about being John McClane in Die Hard. And apparently, just that quick little couple of sentences of an entire story that actually wasn't about being anti-gun, mind you. And that's probably what bothers me more than anything. My entire point was that we are only answering the problem with violent solutions, and we need to think of non-violent solutions. It had nothing to do with guns, really. And it didn't have anything to do with these douchebags who identify with their guns as their identity. Now, I will read an email that I received from one of these people. Hey, asshole. Just because someone subscribes to Guns and Ammo magazine, is a proud NRA member, and spends a lot of his time talking with his friends about guns, doesn't mean that he wraps himself in an identity that is his gun. I hope your shitty show fails. Steve S. By the way, P.S. Go fuck yourself. Um, Steve, if you're listening, you are wrapped up in guns as your identity. I hate to tell you, it's the way it is. I say that because I've never heard from you on anything else besides guns. And the minute I talk about it, you've got to respond. You took that personal. You've just said you subscribe to a magazine about inanimate objects. You pay monthly or yearly fees to a group who loves the same inanimate objects. You talk with your friends all the time. Well, what I found more interesting there, Steve, is you didn't talk about anything else you're into. If you wanted to make a counterpoint, you could say, hey, I'm into, I'm an NRI member. Subscribed to Guns and Ammo, but I also really love high school softball. I can tell you how to do that windmill pitch thing that everyone thinks looks weird. Whatever. But to immediately go to a place of defense, well, my friend, you are, in fact, the identity is of your gun. I was really surprised by how many people have gotten upset by this. And I planned on doing a part 2 of the video discussing about teens and guns and school shootings and blah blah blah. And I will continue with that. So in that light, I did some research about the problems teens have. I'll be honest, I was going for a different take on it. I first started by assuming that one of the reasons why they do get so frustrated and violent is just a symptom of being overpressured, and a symptom of one of many symptoms, by the way, of a rapidly moving environment and a pressure to succeed, and knowing a college education is the only thing that's going to somewhat make you successful, and even then you're tied to $50,000 debt. So the only way to make it in this life is to go into debt. Um, and you must succeed and all of these things. So I started looking up all the other symptoms that we could find outside of guns: alcohol, prescription drug use, nicotine abuse, sexual activity, violent crimes in general. And you know what I found? They're all declining. And they have been. Our kids are having sex less. They are using nicotine less. They are drinking alcohol less. All of these things that we say is an epidemic, they're doing it less. Violent crime amongst teenagers is incredibly lower than it used to be. I mean, this is the things I think that people should be talking about. Our kids are so much better than they used to be, than when we were kids. And so that leads me to this. There was only one graph that showed an increase. You're going to be surprised when I tell you it's people who own multiple guns. This was not my intention, honestly, to start off with this. But the biggest problem is douchebag gun culture. People who own more than one gun has gone up double since 1994. Everything else has gone down. Our violence, our crime, all gone down. But it's this douchebag gun culture that has gone up. And yes, if you are a person who thinks that you should take a picture with your sunglasses, a tight shirt, your tattoos, and your AR-15, you're a douchebag. Live with it. It's the way it is. You don't want to be it, change it. But you're the problem. This idea of masculinity, this I'm a man, I have multiple guns. That's the problem. Why is it the problem? Because this guy, who I'm explaining to you, doesn't treat guns like a tool. He treats them like a toy, like a little boy would. How does a little boy take care of toys? He leaves them around. He doesn't respect them. They're not properly put away. And that's the problem. Because that person has a child, and that child learns from their dad, who is a douchebag gun owner. Not a good gun owner, a douchebag gun owner. And when that person gets bullied, they know exactly where to get a gun, because dad's a moron and doesn't lock his guns away. Like I said multiple times, it is the gun culture. It's not the guns, it's the people. And that's one thing that gun owners always say. Guns don't shoot people, people do. Yeah, okay. Well, then start acting responsible with them. You're the people. You're the one fighting for the right to have the gun. Now fucking grow up and take care of it. And treat it like the tool that it is. Wouldn't it be really, really weird if we felt this way about, like, power drills? Like, whoever could just take a picture, like, crossing their arms with two power drills? It'd be weird. Odd. Now, granted, you can leave a power drill just laying around. But you know what? Most guys who work construction would not do that. Environment damage. Things expensive. But in its case, put it away. Do that with your stupid gun. I have a gun. I've talked about it. I keep it in a wall safe. Fingerprint wall safe. And you know what? It was really cheap. It was easy to do. It's in a shelf. You can't even tell. But I don't identify as the gun. I can keep it locked away, hidden away, and it's fine. I don't need to advertise that I'm Billy Badass. I guess maybe I also don't have a small penis problem, but, whatever. Serious though, as much as I'm trying to shame these gun owners, and not all gun. I'm trying, I can't express that enough. I'm only talking about the gun owner who doesn't take care of his guns properly, who takes pictures like a immature little boy and shows the adolescence still blooming in him at the age of his mid 30s and has to take every Facebook picture with all of his guns and American flag behind him. And yeah, that guy. Fucking shape up, dude. Especially if you have kids. Especially if you have a niece or nephew. People who live around you. They know where to get a gun because uncle douchebag or dad douchebag has them laying around everywhere. Take care of your shit, is what I'm saying. And stop blaming kids. Our kids are better than they've ever been. We also need to correct the media on that. The amount of responsibility that our kids are showing, we could learn from that. We really could. Anyway, that's it for me. Tomorrow I will be doing a show of the full impeachment hearing. I know I've talked about doing that, but I had the opportunity to talk with Dave Landau. You cannot not do that. um, from Anthony Cumia fame. If you know Opie and Anthony, it was one of the biggest radio shows of all time. Dave Landau is now second mic to Anthony Cumia, great comic as well. So I had to take that opportunity. I will also be doing more interviews on Friday with comedians and getting more into the interview side. I plan on still trying to do these shows daily as much as I can. But there's one of me, and I have like 3 jobs, not just this. So, anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good weekend.